Then Imam al-Barbahari, rahimahullah, he continued, what occurs here is point number 38, on page 259. وَالنِّفَاقُ أَنْ يُظْهِرَ الْإِسْلَامَ بِاللِّسَانِ وَيُخْفِ الْكُفْرَ بِالضَّمِيرِ. He said, and hypocrisy, and Nifaaq, is to display Islam upon the tongue whilst hiding disbelief and kufr in the heart. Shaykh Fawzan, hafidhahullah, he said in explanation, and Nifaaq, hypocrisy, is to manifest, to show outwardly that which is good, and to conceal inwardly evil, that which is evil. And it, meaning Nifaaq, hypocrisy, it is of two categories. And he mentions the two categories. The first of them being Nifaaqun i'tiqaadee, hypocrisy of belief. The hypocrisy that relates to a person's belief. And Shaykh Fawzan explained it. He said, and this is kufrun akbar. This is major disbelief. In disbelief that takes a person outside the fold of Islam means that he is a disbeliever, not a Muslim. Nifaaq i'tiqaadee, hypocrisy of belief. He said this is major kufr, major disbelief. And the hypocrite, the munafiq, is worse than the kafir on asli. Is worse than the primary or original disbeliever. Because the kafir, the original disbeliever, the primary disbeliever, it's well known that he is a kafir, a disbeliever. And one who doesn't even claim he's a Muslim. He's an open disbeliever, known disbeliever. Then it's well known about him that he is a disbeliever, kafir, and that he is an enemy. However, the munafiq, the hypocrite, he deceives the Muslims, and he manifests that he is from them when he is actually an enemy to them. He manifests openly that he is a Muslim whilst he is actually a kafir, a disbeliever. يُخَادِئُونَ اللَّهَ وَالَّذِينَ آمَنُوا وَمَا يَخْدَعُونَ إِلَّا أَنفُسَهُمْ وَمَا يَشْعُرُونَ. Surah Al-Baqarah, the second surah, ayah 9. With the explanation in the context of the hypocrites, that they try to deceive Allah and those who believe, but they do not actually deceive except their own selves, whilst they do not perceive. Shaykh Fawzan said, and therefore Allah will put them in the lowest depth of the fire, beneath the worshippers of the idols and the kuffar, the disbelievers, because they are worse than the disbelievers. And therefore He, the Majestic and Most High, said with regard to them, humul adu fahdharhum qatalahum Allah anna yufakun. Surah Al-Munafiqun, 63rd surah, ayah 4. The explanation, they, the hypocrites, they are the enemy, so beware of them. May Allah curse them. How do they deviate away from the truth? As a side point here, just with regard to this surah, Surah Al-Munafiqun, the whole surah that's about the hypocrites, named the surah with regard to hypocrites, and Shaykh Salih as-Suhaimi, hafidhahullah, he said, just a point with regard to this surah, he said, and with regard to the matter of the hypocrites, he said, first of all, he mentioned a number of ayahs with regard to the hypocrites on this issue, and then he said, indeed, there has come down with regard to them, the hypocrites, a surah which is specifically about them, which is called Surah Al-Munafiqun, this surah, 63rd surah. And it from its start to its end speaks about their shameful deeds. Just as Allah, the Most High, also exposed them in other surahs, as occurs in Surah An-Nur, 24th surah, and Surah Tawbah, the 9th surah. He said to the extent that this surah, the 9th surah, is called Al-Fadiha, the exposing surah, because it exposes the hypocrites. And also Surah Al-Ahzab, the 3rd surah, and some parts of Surah Al-Baqarah, and some parts of Surah Al-Imran. So back to the explanation of Shaykh Fawzan. So he mentioned the ayah from Surah Al-Munafiqun, Humul adu fahdharhum qatalahum Allah anna yufakun. The ayah with the explanation that they, the hypocrites, are the enemy, so beware of them. May Allah curse them. How do they deviate away from the truth? Shaykh Fawzan said, and an-Nifaaq al-i'tiqaadee, hypocrisy of belief, is that which Iman, true faith, can never combine with. A person cannot have Iman and have Nifaaq al-i'tiqaadee, hypocrisy and belief. They can't combine. You'll have one or the other, not both. Never combine. Hypocrisy of belief is first category of, which is disbelief, that can never combine with Iman. Then he mentions the second category of hypocrisy, Nifaaq. He said, the second type is an-Nifaaq al-Amaliy, hypocrisy in actions. Hypocrisy in actions. And an-Nifaaq al-Amaliy, hypocrisy in actions, it is that a person is a believer, a mu'min, ظاهرا وباطنا, outwardly and inwardly. In the first category, from what we see, he's a believer. That's what we see with our eyes. Outwardly, he manifests himself as a believer, but inwardly, he disbelieves in Islam. He's a kafir. Whereas the second category, that's hypocrisy of belief. The second category here, hypocrisy of action, the Shaykh said, and he is a believer outwardly and inwardly. However, some characteristics come from him, from the characteristics of the hypocrites. He has some characteristics which are the normal characteristics of the hypocrites, which render his Iman deficient, and there is a severe threat for it. However, he does not exit from the religion. It is called an-Nifaaq al-Amaliy, hypocrisy in action, and it is called an-Nifaaq al-Asghar, it's called the lesser hypocrisy. And the like of this is what occurs in his saying, sallallahu alayhi wasallam, أربع من كن فيه كان منافقا خالصا ومن كان فيه خصلة منها كان فيه خصلة من النفاق حتى يدعها إذا حدث كذب وإذا وعد أخلف وإذا اؤتمن خان وإذا خاصم فجر. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said in this regard, about hypocrisy in action, he said, there are 4 things. Whoever has them all in him, then he will be a pure hypocrite. And whoever has a single characteristic from them, then he will have a characteristic of hypocrisy until he leaves it, until he abandons it. And he quoted what they are. He said, when he talks, he lies, and when he makes a promise, he breaks it, and when he is trusted, he proves treacherous, and when he argues, he speaks in a foul manner. Hadith, as I mentioned in the footnote, is reported by Al-Bukhari. They give a correct reference for it there, hadith number 34, and reported by Muslim as hadith number 58, from a hadith of Abdullah ibn Amr radiyallahu anhu. Shaykh Fawzan said, so with regard to the believer, the mu'min, then hypocrisy in action may appear from him. In one of these characteristics, it may appear from him. and it will be a deficiency in his iman, and he will be deserving of the threat. However, he does not depart from the religion on account of that. Again, there's a small side point here from the explanation of Shaykh Fawzan, Shaykh Salih al-Suhaimi. He said, with regard to Nifaaq al-Amaliy, the second type of hypocrisy, the lesser hypocrisy in action, he said, and this type of hypocrisy, Nifaaq al-Amaliy, hypocrisy with regard to deeds, actions, does not take the person outside the fold of Islam, even though the seriousness of its sin is great. It's very serious that a person has this type of hypocrisy, because it may lead over time to falling into hypocrisy in belief. It may lead that person over time, over a long period of time, to eventually fall into the major hypocrisy of belief. And Allah's refuge is sought. And all of it is evil. And both types of hypocrisy is evil. And hypocrisy is blameworthy from every angle. And therefore there has never been any movement against Islam and against the Muslims, except that the hypocrites were found within their ranks, either aiding them with material, or by laying down plans for them, plotting for them, or by preparing the way for them, or by making false promises, until Allah, the Exalted and Most High, exposed them. Back to the explanation of Shaykh Fawzan, Hafidhullah, he said, so having defined hypocrisy in action, he said that a person, there's a severe threat upon it, however, it does not take the person out of Islam. Then he said, and this hypocrisy of action, this hypocrisy is ar-riya, performing deeds for show, to show off. It is ar-riya, performing deeds for show, which Allah's Messenger sallallahu alayhi wasallam feared for his companions, and he called it lesser shirk. So he said, "Inna akhwafu ma akhafu alaykum ash-shirk al-asghar." That which I fear most for you is lesser shirk. So they said, and what is lesser shirk, O Messenger of Allah? So he said, ar-riya. يقول الله يوم القيامة إذا جزى الناس بأعمالهم اذهبوا إلى الذين كنتم تراءون في الدنيا فانظروا هل تجدون عندهم جزاء. The Prophet ﷺ said, when they asked what is lesser shirk, he said, it is a riya, acting for show, to show off. Allah will say on the day of resurrection, when the people are recompensed for their deeds, go to those people whom you used to show off to in this world. Go to those people whom you used to show off to in the world, and look and see, do you find any recompense with them? Find any reward with them? In a footnote they mention, this hadith is reported by Imam Ahmad in his Musnad, Al-Bayhaqi in Shu'ab al-Iman, Al-Baghawi in Sharh as-Sunnah, from a hadith of Mahmud ibn Labid radiyallahu anhu. And Al-Mundhiri said in his book At-Targhib wa Tarhib, its chain of narration is good. As an additional point, Shaykh al-Albani said in his checking, Shaykh al-Albani said in his checking of At-Targhib wa Tarhib, Sahih, authentic, this hadith is Sahih. Then Shaykh Fawzan said, quoting another hadith, he said, and he sallallahu alayhi wasallam said, ألا أخبركم بما هو أخوف عليكم عندي من المسيح الدجال. Shall I not inform you of that which I fear more for you, or that which is more fearful with me upon you than al-Masih al-Dajjal? So they said, yes indeed. So he said, الشرك الخفي يقوم الرجل فيصلي فيزين صلاته لما يرى من نظر رجل إليه. He said, it is hidden shirk that a man stands up and prays and he beautifies his prayer because of the fact that he sees a man looking at him. In a footnote they mention, this hadith is reported by Imam Ahmad in his Musnad, Ibn Majah in his Sunan, At-Tahawi in Sharh Mushkil al-Athar, Ibn Adi, and a number of others, At-Tabari in Tahdhib al-Athar, Al-Hakim, and others from a hadith of Abu Sa'id al-Khudri radiyallahu anhu. And this hadith was declared Sahih, they say, by At-Tahawi and Al-Hakim, and Al-Dhahabi agreed, and Al-Busayri declared it Hasan in his Misbah al-Zujaja, Al-Busayri's notes to Ibn Majah, his checking of Ibn Majah, Al-Busayri. And as a side point, Shaykh al-Albani said in his checking of Ibn Majah, this hadith is Hasan, good. Shaykh Fawzan commented on this hadith. So when he prays, when this person prays in the presence of the people, he beautifies his prayer, he adorns his prayer. And when he prays in his house or in a place where he is unseen, then he pecks away his prayer. He prays very quickly. Then this is what the companions used to fear for themselves severely. So no one can declare himself to be totally free of it. No one can feel innocent to declare himself to be totally free of it. In other words, if the companions used to fear it, then no one else can feel safe after them. No one can declare himself to be free, totally free and innocent of it. So a person should fear it. And therefore they said, لا يخافه إلا مؤمن ولا يأمنه إلا منافق. With regard to this, no one fears it except for a true believer. And no one feels secure from it except for a hypocrite. The Shaykh said, so the Muslim fears for himself from this hypocrisy, which is lesser hypocrisy. He fears for himself hypocrisy of action. And Shaykh Fawzan said, he's saying, وَالنِّفَاقُ أَن يُظْهِرَ الْإِسْلَامَ بِاللِّسَانِ وَيُخْفِي الْكُفْرَ بِالضَّمِيرِ. And hypocrisy, going back to the text of the Imam al-Barbahari, and hypocrisy is that he manifests Islam upon his tongue and he hides disbelief in the heart. Shaykh Fawzan said, this is the definition of an-Nifaaq al-Tiqaadee, hypocrisy in belief. And it is an-Nifaaq al-Akbar, major hypocrisy. And Iman cannot combine with this. That first category, Iman cannot combine with it. So it will never occur from a mu'min, from a believer. And Allah the Majestic and Most High said at the start of Surah Al-Baqarah, he said rather, Allah the Majestic and Most High at the start of Surah Al-Baqarah divided mankind into believers, mu'mineen, believers outwardly and inwardly, and into disbelievers outwardly and inwardly. In categories. I mentioned the three categories that are divided at the start of Surah Al-Baqarah of the people. The first category, those who are believers outwardly and inwardly, the mu'minun, believers. Secondly, those who are disbelievers, kuffar, outwardly and inwardly. And into the hypocrites, the third category, munafiqeen, the hypocrites. Those who manifest Islam outwardly but hide disbelief. So he, the Prophet, said in the Quran, Alif Lam Mim, ذَلِكَ الْكِتَابُ لَا رَيْبَ فِيهِ هُدًى لِلْمُتَّقِينَ. الذين يؤمنون بالغيب ويقيمون الصلاة ومما رزقناهم ينفقون والذين يؤمنون بما أنزل إليك وما أنزل من قبلك وبالآخرة هم يوقنون أولئك على هدى من ربهم وأولئك هم المفلحون. Surah Al-Baqarah, second surah, ayahs 1 to 5, with the explanation. Alif Lam Mim. This is the book about which there is no doubt. It is a guidance for the people of taqwa. It is a guidance for those who are dutiful to Allah. Those who truly believe in the ghaib, in the hidden and the unseen, and who establish the prayer, and who spend from that which we have given them. And those who truly believe in that which was sent down to you, and addressed to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, or referring to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and who believe in that which came down before you. And those who are have certain faith in the hereafter, those who truly believe in the hereafter. They are upon guidance from their Lord, and they are the ones who will prosper. Shaykh Fawzan said, these ayahs are with regard to the believers, the mu'mineen, those who are believers outwardly and inwardly. As for the disbelievers, outwardly and inwardly, and Allah said with regard to them in the following ayahs, إِنَّ الَّذِينَ كَفَرُوا سَوَاءٌ عَلَيْهِمْ أَأَنذَرْتَهُمْ أَمْ لَمْ تُنذِرْهُمْ لَا يُؤْمِنُونَ ختم الله على قلوبهم وعلى سمعهم وعلى أبصارهم غشاوة ولهم عذاب عظيم. 6 to 7 with the explanation. Those who disbelieve, it is the same for them whether you warn them or do not warn them. They will not believe. Allah has sealed their hearts. Allah has put a seal upon their hearts and upon their hearing. And upon their sight there is a covering. And there will be a tremendous punishment for them. Shaykh Fawzan said, then he said with regard to the third category, وَمِنَ النَّاسِ مَنْ يَقُولُ آمَنَّا بِاللَّهِ وَبِالْيَوْمِ الْآخِرِ وَمَا هُمْ بِمُؤْمِنِينَ يُخَادِعُونَ اللَّهَ وَالَّذِينَ آمَنُوا وَمَا يَخْدَعُونَ إِلَّا أَنفُسَهُمْ وَمَا يَشْعُرُونَ. Up until his saying, He the Most High, صُمٌّ بُكْمٌ عُمْيٌ فَهُمْ لَا يَرْجِعُونَ. Surah Al-Baqarah up to ayah 18. Ayahs 8 to 18. This is with regard to the third category, the hypocrites. The ayahs with the explanation. And from the people there are those who say, we believe in Allah and in the last day, but they are not believers. They attempt to deceive Allah and those who believe, but they do not actually deceive except themselves, whilst they do not perceive. In the following ayahs, up until the 21st, up until the 18th ayah, for the explanation, deaf, dumb and blind, so they will not return to the truth. Shaykh Fawzan said, so these ayahs, all of these ayahs, 8 to 18, are with regard to the hypocrites, the munafiqeen, and they are 10 and odd ayahs. And he said, he's saying, وَيُخْفِي الْكُفْرَ بِالضَّمِيرِ. The hypocrite is the one who manifests Islam upon his tongue and hides disbelief in the damir, in his heart. The Shaykh said, ad-damir, it means that which he conceals within the heart. Just briefly, with regard to a summary of this section, then Shaykh Ahmad al-Najmi, rahimahullah, he said, in his explanation, that's where Shaykh Fawzan ends explanation of this, and the next section is quite long, so we'll leave what follows till next time, inshallah. But with regard to the explanation of Shaykh Ahmad al-Najmi, rahimahullah, then he said, Nifaaq, hypocrisy, is derived from an-nafaq. It's derived from the Arabic word an-nafaq, which means a juhar, literally a burrow, an animal burrow, or a tunnel, which is found in the earth. And it is called that because the person who has it has hypocrisy. He makes apparent, contrary to that which is hidden, which he hides. He makes apparent something contrary to that which he hides. Like the burrow under the earth. You don't see it, it's underground. He said, and this is what is called an-Nifaaq al-tiqaadee, hypocrisy in belief. And as for an-Nifaaq al-Amaliy, hypocrisy in action, then that does not take a person outside Islam. Rather, his person remains as a Muslim. And it is called Nifaaq al-Amaliy, hypocrisy in action, because the person with it, he manifests something contrary to what he hides. Outwardly he does something that's better than what he's actually upon with regard to deeds. And the Shaykh said, as for an-Nifaaq al-i'tiqadi, hypocrisy in belief, then that is the hypocrisy of the hypocrites, those who were in the time of the Prophet ﷺ, and it is to manifest Islam whilst hiding disbelief. And the person tries to guard against revealing what he actually believes. And therefore Allah the Mighty Majestic has informed about them, that the hypocrites will be in the lowest depth of the fire, and Allah is the one who grants success. Alhamdulillah, wa sallallahu ala Muhammad. Subhanakallahumma wa bihamdik, ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta, astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk.